Alright, so moving right along to the next set of reviews, I guess, is Star Wars Blood Ties. Now, Star Wars Blood Ties is from the Dark Horse comics, and this focuses on both Boba and Jango Fett. This is I guess you could say a generational story, because it starts out with Boba, and then it eventually goes on to... it starts out with Jango, and then it goes on to Boba Fett. The story is that... the whole thing is about Boba. I'm getting the names mixed up. It starts out with Jango getting a new job after teaching a lesson to his son, on a free range mission, and he gets a message from Count Dooku saying, I've got a new bounty for you, and he could blow the lid on our whole thing on Kamino. Go take him out. But what I like about this, real quick, the opening to this comic is that with the opening scene with Boba and Jango, is that it's Jango teaching Boba as a child to basically, live a life without fear, because he more or less sends him into a pit to get a thing called a Baleg, which looks exactly like a Karate dragon. I don't know why they just didn't say, it's a Karate dragon, but no, it's something called a Baleg. It's this huge it looks like a Karate dragon. But anyway, so... at the beginning of the story, I like that, is that, you see Boba and Jango have this father-son kind of relationship that you didn't see in the movie, and yeah, he's training, even though Boba's a clone of Jango, he's more or less giving him the fatherly love of a Mandalorian. He's teaching him like a Mandalorian. And I really do like that we get to see, this father-son relationship between the two. So... eventually, we come to find out in this comic that Jango discovers that the guy he was hired to kill is a clone that got away and didn't want to be he didn't want to be a soldier. So Jango kills him and discovers that the clone had a son named Connor Freeman. So we skip on several years down. I don't know where exactly this takes in terms of. Now, in the first half of it with Jango, it clearly starts before episode 2, but with this, with the Boba Fett half of the story, that half takes place, I don't know where in the original trilogy. I want to say somewhere before episode 4. But anyway, so. The story continues that Boba gets a job. He finds out that there is a job from a Mun. Yeah, I like how we get these little supporting characters for Boba, but it's kind of weird because in the Boba Fett comics, he's got these supporting characters, but you never see them again. Like in one comic that had him going for treasure hunting, he was working with someone who was giving him credits. In this one, it's a Mun now. Yeah, it's a Mun who's a banker, and he's Boba Fett's accountant. I didn't think he would have an accountant, but yeah, there you go. Boba Fett has an accountant. And the accountant says that there's a guy named Connor Freeman. He's not a really big bounty, but the crime lord wants him. And the Mun, whose name I forget, more or less slips out that that Jango knew him. So Boba Fett, interested, goes out to find Connor, and yeah. Connor is, again, the son of a clone, so technically speaking, you could say that, Boba has a half-brother of some sort. Now, or if you want to go really technical, because the clone's he's another clone, you could say that this is his nephew, technically speaking, because this is the son of a clone. Anyway, but, yeah, Connor Freeman... looks like a teenage Boba Fett, and I love the scene where he's asleep at the bar, and there's a bounty hunter from this guy named Tyrid. I think that's his name. I can't remember. I can't pronounce it, actually. It's the better term. So Tyrid's bounty hunter says, "I'm taking you in," and Connor asks the bartender. He's like, "Is he mad? Yeah. Has he got a blaster? Yeah." And he gets the blaster. He just over the shoulder shoots him. He's just like, "There, I'm going back to sleep." So, I really do like this story. The artwork is very well done. It does feel like it really is kind of dark. It's very dark, but it's very detailed. It's dark but detailed artwork. I mean, here's a pic right here from the comic, and Boba encounters a Rancor. And how he deals with the Rancor is kind of awesome. There are some interesting supporting characters, and one cameo that just comes out of nowhere, honestly. Like, one cameo just comes out of the fuck nowhere of Bosk. And it's a really weird scene, because you think Bosk is going to do something, but no, like, because here's the thing. Boba and Connor encounter... Boba and Connor encounter this gang of bounty hunters called they call themselves the League of Bounty Hunters, and Boba's about to throw down with them. And Boba says there's a code among bounty hunters that, bounty hunters don't kill bounty hunters unless there's, well, a bounty for them. And the leader of the League of Bounty Hunters says, yeah, well, who's gonna know? And then Bosk walks in going, I might. So Bosk walks in, and you think, oh man, Bosk and Boba are gonna team up, that's gonna be so cool. But no, Bosk just walks by he just walks in between them and was like, hey Boba, hey Bosk, you gonna kill him? Yeah. Have fun. I was like, what was the point of that? Was it just to have Bosk show up and talk to Boba? Was that really the only reason? Anyway. So I do like in this comic that it really does explore Boba, not just being he's a man for hire like his father, but in some weird ways you can almost see that, he's trying to appease his father. He's trying to, he's trying to please a dead man, as the comic has said. He's trying to please a man he hardly remembers. And yeah, he does actually touch on, Mace Windu killing Jango. And I really do like that scene because he literally calls Mace Windu. He said, "My father was murdered by a madman," which you could say just by looking at that that final face Mace did after decapitating Jango. You could say that is you could call him a madman. And then Boba went on to goes on to say, I wanted to have revenge on him when I was young, but then I discovered he's dead. So I was not only robbed of a father, but I was robbed of of my chance to kill the man who murdered my father. I was screwed from the get-go, more or less. That's how he kind of sees that he was robbed of both his father and his revenge. So now the only thing he can do is follow in his father's footsteps and, well, bounty hunt, really. That's kind of all he has left, and all he can really depend on is his credits. I really do like how him and Connor really play off each other, because Connor really reminds me of Nathan Drake, not in the sense that he's a treasure hunter, but in terms of his personality of being of just being this asshole who's trying to make it through life. This comic's a short one, and the villain in here, the Crime Lord, he does look like a Sith Lord, but he's not. I know he's not a Sith Lord. I think he's Devonian, if I remember right. He's supposed to be a Devonian. But anyway, this comic's pretty good. If you're a Boba Fett fan, I highly recommend this. This is kind of hard. I got this at the convention for 50% off. This is, if you can find it, it's usually $14. I got it for $7, so yeah. I love anything to do with Boba Fett, so when I found this, I was like, a story about Boba and Jango? Awesome! It's not a long comic, but I do find it pretty fun. The action's a lot of fun, and you get to see Boba Fett be what he's always known to be, a badass. So I do highly recommend this, and it really delves into Boba's psyche and what Jango Fett meant to him. That's what I really do like. And Connor Freeman's a really fun character as well, even though all he does is just really talk about, I'm not your brother, I'm not your friend, but, we're kind of stuck in this situation. And, yeah, I really do enjoy Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention the connection. The connection that Boba and Connor had is that Jango, after he killed Connor's father, he set up an account for him. He set up an account for, Connor Freeman to use, and he spent it all in a game of sabacc after beating a crime lord, and the crime lord thus put the bounty on him. So there you go. I forgot to mention that earlier. Again, I do recommend this comic if you're a Boba Fett fan or a Star Wars fan in general. The artwork's pretty fun. It's a cool story of Boba Fett on a personal level, really. But anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.